Today I'm going to be talking about a subject that annoys me nearly as much as white ceilings. If you've got a room in your home that's underutilised, a dumping ground or has no purpose, then we need to talk. Welcome to the Daring Home Decor podcast. Are you sick of playing it safe with your interior design? Do you want to get confident with colour and pattern and learn DIY hacks so you can actually finish your home projects? Do you dream of being adventurous with room makeovers but lack the confidence to start, not to mention being clueless of how to get your husband on board? Don't worry girl, I got your back. I'm your host, Cara Baker, serial decorator and content creator. I tried to design our home with personality and style, but everything felt disconnected and lackluster. Then I cracked the code to successfully decorate with bold interior design. In this podcast, you'll learn how to get brave with your DIY and decor choices, steps for daring room makeovers, plus unique and quirky home styling, so you can create a fun and functional home with pizzazz and glam. So grab your paintbrush, put on those overalls and let's get decorating. Did you know I've got a community of women just like you, creative girls who are working hard to grow confidence in getting more adventurous with their home decor by adding colour, pattern and quirky styling, and at the same time trying to find their unique style. They get the opportunity to ask questions to be answered on the podcast, share their home colour palettes, their latest DIYs and much more. There's inspiration, some funny memes, and it's a safe place for you to grow and learn with your daring decor. So come and join us at facebook.com/groups/daring home decor, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about why I hate the term spare room and why you need to remove it from your home and your vocabulary. I think this is one of those phrases that's ingrained into society. I'm not sure if it's an international term, but I definitely know it's used widely in the UK. You'll have to let me know if you're listening from somewhere outside of the UK. DM me on Instagram to know if you use the term or phrase spare room, where you come from. One of the main rooms that are called the spare room in the UK are, if you say you've got a 3-bedroomed house and one of the bedrooms, it's still a bedroom, but it's not used on a permanent basis by anybody in the house. It's just maybe used if anybody stays over. That tends to be the spare room. And I also know a lot of people who may have started off with this extra bedroom and it ends up being a non-functional room for one reason or another, which we will cover in a bit. I turned our box room, which is very often referred to as the spare room, into a multifunctional room, and I use it for my yoga and strength training, and it's also a craft room too. Admittedly, I don't really spend that much time in there doing crafts, but it's a place where I put all my craft items. Before that, they were scattered all around the house, and a lot of them were in the loft, which was really annoying because I used to have to go up there every time I needed something. So I've got a specific function for this room, and I never call it the spare room. I'm not sure whoever came up with the word spare for a room in your home, but I think it is absolutely ridiculous. Just imagine if you bought a gorgeous jewellery set, say you had a matching ring, a necklace and a bracelet, and then you put the bracelet away in a drawer and never wore it. Maybe your husband asked, why aren't you wearing the bracelet that goes with the set, that goes with your earrings and necklace? And you say, oh, the bracelet's just a spare. And he's like, but you paid £500 for that set. It makes no sense. And this is exactly how I view having a spare room in your home. It makes no sense. Now, I know you're saying this without questioning it, and no judgment on you. I've definitely said it. I make myself never say it now, but I've definitely said it in the past without question. Maybe you've got, like I mentioned before, an extra bedroom in your home and it's used when guests come over, but you still always call it the spare room. Maybe it's a room where you work out, but you don't call it my exercise room or my workout room or my gym. You call it the spare room. Maybe it's a walk-in wardrobe where you've got all your clothes, but you don't call it a walk-in wardrobe. You call it the spare room. Or maybe, and no shame here, but I'm sure a lot of you listening will be guilty of this, maybe it's just the infamous dumping ground, and it serves no purpose whatsoever except to accumulate crap in your home. If this is you, then this episode is definitely for you. So, if your spare room is a guest room, then call it that. Be proud. Make it homely. Add some plush pillows and pretty bedding. I recently redecorated the guest room in our house, and prior to redecorating it, it probably was, when we first moved into the house, referred to as the spare room. I did actually a while ago change that when I changed my mindset and started calling it the guest room. But I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't seen my guest room, then there's a reel over on Instagram where you can go and have a look. If you're using this room to work out in, for example, and you've got your weights in there, don't just leave them all scattered over the floor. Buy a little tree to put your dumbbells on. You know, add some, if you're using the room to do some yoga, add a few little Zen touches, put a candle in there, put some nice prints on the wall. Make it feel like it's not just like a blank room that you do something in. It is my workout room. Make it a workout room. It's my walk-in wardrobe. Make it a walk-in wardrobe. You know, put all your clothes, organise all your clothes, put all the colours together in a rainbow. You know, put a little nice soft stool in there so you can sit down and put your shoes on, things like that. Show the room some love. When you think about it, your home is probably your biggest investment. If you've got a mortgage or you've bought your home, I would say it is your biggest investment, and you probably also spend most of your life in it too. I mean, I know a lot of people that move home for more space, and if they're doing that and leaving a spare room behind, then that is just such a shame. When somebody actually points it out to you, it just seems so silly. It's also a bit like when people have an extension, but at the same time, they've got a poor layout in the rest of the house. So they're not utilising the house to its best ability, but then they're going to stick an extension on the side too. This was shown quite a lot in the show Your Home Made Perfect. If you've never watched it, they get some architects and they go in and they totally remodel the layout of the home. And there's quite a lot of times when people have had extensions and they've got rid of the extension and reworked the rest of the layout, and it seems bigger, it works better and everything. So it's not always about more space. It's about utilising to your best ability the space that you've already got. So you need to make use of and get pleasure out of every inch of your home. Just remember that. And especially because of what a big investment you've made in it too. I mean, even if you're renting, rentals aren't cheap. If you're getting a 3-bedroom house, you're paying more than someone with a 2-bedroom house. So if you're renting a 3-bedroom house and one of them is a spare room, then think of the money that you're throwing down the drain. Now, if you're not in the category where your room is okay and, you know, people just stay in it when they come over, if you're in the category where your spare room, I say that in air quotes, is a dumping ground, then you really need to take note here. You need to clear the clutter. Did you know that disorganised rooms that are full of clutter, or any space really in your home that are full of clutter, is bad energy for a home? If you've ever heard of Feng Shui is about the flow of energy through your home. And if you've got things that are old or dusty or broken or not used or messy, then that doesn't leave space for a good flow of energy. That is a space for a bad flow of energy. And maybe you do or don't believe in Feng Shui. I do. but that can actually have an effect on your life, how things go in your life, how you feel in your home. So if anybody listening to this episode has a room in their home that is full of junk and clutter, please, please, please get it sorted. Get rid of the clutter, clean the room, make it useful. I mean, you could use it as an office, a sewing room, a playroom for the kids, an art room, a reading room. As I mentioned before, I've got a yoga stroke craft multifunctional room, so you could use it as a multifunctional room. Think of the things that you like to do, that you need space to do them in. You could be using that room for it instead of it just being bad energy in your home. So grab a bin bag now and start decluttering. You can do a little bit each day or each week, and eventually you will have the whole room clear and be able to use it for something that you love. As with the white ceilings, let's stop doing what we've always done and be intentional with our homes. I know I'm guilty too. I'm not sitting here like I've never called a room a spare room. I've never had clutter in my home. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I've definitely done that. But when I actually start thinking and being intentional about my home, that's when I start questioning these things, and I just want you to do the same. And thinking about it, if you want to start getting more daring with your decor, this could be the room where you get confident and go wild. And if you make a mistake, you don't need to show anybody, it doesn't matter. And if your husband complains about the daring decor, you say to him, well, it was only a dumping ground anyway, so how is it worse than that? I hope I've given you some food for thought, and I will just recap everything that I've gone over. So we need to ditch the term spare room, call the room what it actually is. You need to remember to utilise every part of your home, and remember it's your biggest investment. Show the room some love, make it clean, tidy and clutter-free. Stop doing what you've always done and said, and the best tip of all, you can use the room to experiment with your daring decor. Well, I've loved having you join me for another episode, and before I go, I just wanted to read one of the lovely reviews that's been left for me on Apple Podcasts. Thank you, Spandex Squirrel, for taking the time to leave me a review. Inspiring. I came across Cara's Decor on Pinterest when looking at decorating my own home, and she has given me so much inspiration. I was delighted to find out she had created a podcast, and it's been so helpful to get advice from someone who shares my taste in decor. Definitely recommended. Well, thanks again for taking the time to leave me that review. And if you haven't already left me a review, it's the number one way that you can thank me for anything that you gain or learn from the show. It helps other people find the show. It helps with my ranking. It helps me know what you think. And you never know, I might be reading it out here on the podcast. And if you haven't already, don't forget to join my insider list and grab your free home colour palette guide. I also wanted to just tell you before I go that I have been updating my website. If you haven't been over there lately, go over and check it out. It's had a little bit of a new look, and I'm also, as you probably gathered, it's been happening gradually, but my brand originally was Paradise, but I'm rebranding to Daring Home Decor, so the website and my Instagram page and everything will eventually all be Daring Home Decor. So I just thought I'd let you know about that, and there are links to all my resources in the show notes. Well, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next Tuesday, where I can't wait to get creative with you in the next episode of the Daring Home Decor podcast. One last thing before you grab that paintbrush. If you've been inspired by the show today, I'd be triple grateful if you'd follow me and leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. This will let me know if I've helped you in any way. And if you fancy a look around my home or to join the Daring Decor community, you'll find all my resources in the show notes. I'll see you next week, and happy decorating.